Zophila Mkhize. Good evening, Zophila. Thanks very much for coming through. So what are you now planning to do as the ANC Youth League?
Well, the ANC Youth League has been vocal in the issue of gender-based violence as a whole, and mostly the issue of the ongoing case of the criminal pastor. Now, the ANC Youth League would definitely support a call to close down the church, because we don't believe that that is supposed to be called a church. Instead, it should be called a criminal place where crimes take place, because there is no God that is worshipped in that church. And we firmly believe that we need to save any lives that are still going to that kind of church, because it's not really church. And we need to save young people and young women mostly, and make sure that it's closed down, and encourage that, because we don't believe that Otomoso is the only person that has been doing this. There are many other people that are very dodgy, who call themselves pastors, who are much worried about the Christian society, which seems to be very silent on the issue. The churches seem to be very silent on the issue, whereas they know that this was one of them and has been doing this. So I believe that the ANC Youth League is in the right path to say, let us close down the church, let us be able to call all young people, might not be young, but everyone who has been into such a situation with a person called a pastor, because a church is a place that we'll normally know as a safer place, but it comes out that it's not really safe. So the only way is to close it down and have more people coming out and cleaning South Africa, obviously.
Well, issuing a statement, of course, is only one thing. For an organization like yours that keeps on telling us that you are omnipresent, what are your members on the ground going to be doing? We've been seeing a lot of more elderly people from other political parties lending their support. Are your members going to be there on the ground making the right noises and making their presence felt?
Our members have been on the ground, and we want to make sure that we put more members of the ANC Youth League and the Progressive Youth Alliance on the ground, basically and specifically on the issue, which is very fundamental and needs to be dealt with now, giving the support mostly to the survivors, those who are still going to testify against this man, and those who have still not come out to say we are also survivors. We need to provide as much support as we can as the ANC Youth League, and be there in the civil society, within the civil society, because this is not a political issue. It's a societal matter that needs each and every one of the society to come together and be able to fight this evil curse that has happened in South Africa.
Is this something you're doing on your own or with your mother body? And I'm asking this, I don't know if you saw this. The other day there were pictures from outside the court in Port Elizabeth, and one of them was of an ANC member, allegedly. But this woman was in full ANC regalia, carrying a poster that actually supported the pastor and saying he's innocent until proven otherwise, and so on. When such contradictions swell, obviously, people then turn to you and say, what then are you doing if people proudly display ANC regalia and support a cause that you stand diametrically opposed to?
But as the ANC Youth League and as the African National Congress, the ANC Women's League has been able to issue a statement to say whoever, because we're very clear in our policies. So it's a non-sexist organization, and we do not subscribe to the Rape Criminality Act. So whoever does the rape, because we have taken a stance to say whenever there is such a case, we stand with victims, because it starts with rape and women end up getting killed. Now, when we want to turn away and now support a perpetrator, it then becomes a problem. And I think the ANC Women's League, if that is the member of the ANC Women's League and the member of the African National Congress, they need to take disciplinary acts according to that person, because there is no way that the ANC can be seen to be praising a man that has been seen to be so evil in our country.
And I'm sure you've also learned about the need for and the importance of consistency, because when you go back, to some of the cases that included the former ANC president, for example, where you had members of the ANC, members of the ANC Youth League outside court and actually supporting him.
Well, on the issue of former President Zuma, I want to believe that we're starting to compare apples with mangoes, and
No,
it's not going to.
The difference?
It's not the same. It's not the same issue. It's not the same thing. And as much
I thought your issue was standing with rape victims.
We stand with rape victims, but when you see the case of Omotoso and the case of the former President Jacob Zuma, there are people of the ANC who stood with the victim until the end, and it happened that the court made its verdict, and the verdict was that President Zuma did not rape Sisquezi. Now, on the issue of Omotoso, there is proof enough that there might not be proof that he slept with all of them for now, but there is proof enough that he slept with minor children, and that alone should be reasons enough to lock him down.
But I still want to go back to the issue of the risk of laboring this point, to the importance of consistency. Because what it then does is, even when you are standing up for all the good things and you are reclaiming your space to make sure that you support and stand by people who are vulnerable, who are sick, who are infirm, who are exploited, and so on, do you realize just how important it is to actually do that?
I understand.
Because then it doesn't even, such questions as the one I'm asking don't even have to arise when you are consistent.
No, I understand the issue of consistency, and I don't believe from where I'm sitting that the ANC had shut down the Kwezi as a victim in previous years. I don't believe that it has done that with its policies and the way things were happening. Now, what we need to also understand is that as time changes, the society itself changes. And if the ANC itself, the ANC Youth League, wants to be seen as the voice of the society, then it needs to shift to the direction of the society and have the voice of the society, because we cannot speak in one voice while the society thinks otherwise. So we need to be in power with whatever that the society thinks. And right now the society thinks that it is very important that we stand by the victim. And I don't think that it's fair that we're going to keep on raising and bringing back the issue and the case of President Zuma when there's serious issues that we need to be facing right now. I understand the issue of consistency that you're raising, but I think there's some bit of opportunism when you want to bring back the issue of the former President Jacob Zuma into this issue that is happening now. I think our focus right now should be helping out those girls, should be standing with the victims, should be making sure that we clean up South Africa and making sure that South Africa is a better place. No one has to go to church and they fear if they are going to be prayed for, and then after that they're going to be raped and then prayed for. We need to focus at the issue at hand right now, and I don't think that it's going to assist any one of us, be it ourselves as the ANC, the society at large, to try and go back. It's like saying, during apartheid you did this, we are speaking about now. What is it that is happening now?
Okay, let me make another illustration just to drive one point home, and I'm not going to talk about rape this time, right? Let's talk about what's happening with VBS, for example, right, where there are ANC leaders allegedly involved, right? And then we had someone who was implicated in some allegations of bribery, being the spokesperson of the NEC members who are dealing with that issue right now. And have you seen just how difficult it's been? I don't know if you watched the social media when people said, but how can he speak on behalf of the ANC on this matter when he too has been found wanting, or at least allegations have been leveled against him, which then weakens, the ANC's case, because people find it difficult to say, look, of all the members that the ANC has that have to deal with this particular issue, they have to choose this one who is implicated. Again, it goes back to believability. But not only that, but then it sort of paralyzes people, because then some people don't feel the need to not only believe you, but to actually rally behind you around what is a very good cause and doing what actually needs to be done, because the wrongs that are being committed have to really been opposed, by all, not just ANC people. So not only are we welcoming the case for the ANC when such things happen, but also we are welcoming broader society's ability to deal with the case, whose strength is in rallying everybody and getting everybody to speak in one voice.
But we are speaking about the VBS issue. I understand that the ANC is a very large movement and it's a liberated society. But when you look at the VBS reports, the biggest leakers, we all know them. And no one wants to speak about the EFF. No one wants to speak about...
speaking about it. Isn't the problem the comparison?
No,
isn't that part of the problem?
Speak about the EFF.
Everyone has been speaking about EFF.
I mean, the brother comes, for instance, when you speak about... Now, it's also consistency that you've been speaking about. Now, the brother comes and says, my brother is not a politician, is not an official. But when you speak now about consistency, you take it back to a recent issue of the son of Comrade Kantanen, and you take it back to the issue of the son of the former President Jacob Zuma, and you ask yourself, where's consistency? So I think that society lacks consistency, because I do not want to take the issue of inconsistency and put it on the African National Congress or the African National Congress youth league to say they are not consistent.
Let's take an example. The EFF holds a media briefing, right? The EFF says, yes, whether you believe them or not, that's neither here nor there. But I'm saying, they come forward and they say, here's what we have done. We have asked Floyd Chirambu to provide his bank account details. We have looked at them and we're finding no evidence of what he's alleged to have done. And please help us, whoever has further proof or evidence that contradicts what we are saying, please bring it forward and we're going to deal with them. Has the ANC done anything
similar? The African National Congress has launched its own investigation on the VBS.
But you see what I mean? At least there's evidence there that the EFF has tried to do something, whether you believe them or not.
They don't want to investigate. They say the community.
But what has the ANC done? The ANC hasn't done anything. Hasn't said to those people, show us your bank accounts. They haven't called those people to any meeting from as far as we know.
The only thing they didn't do is to call ENCA and say, comrades of the ENC,
didn't call anyone.
These comrades, and was saying to these comrades they must show us their bank accounts, the balance and whatnot. But I'm saying that the African National Congress has launched its own investigation, and the ANC, now another thing about the ANC is its own uniqueness, that the manner in which we deal with our own issues and the manner in which other organizations deal with their own issues is different. Now, the ANC has launched its own investigation and is going to use its own internal processes to deal with whosoever in the African National Congress is said to be involved in looting VBS.
Thanks very much for coming through, and thanks for indulging me. Well, that was Sizopila Mkize from the ANC Youth League. Let's take a